Now, South Africa's military and technology experts are meeting in Pretoria this week. The SANDF wants to better understand cyber threats and trends. The State Information Technology Agency, or SITA for short, is co-hosting the symposium. The sessions are closed to the media, so we are speaking this morning to Nicholas Borma, managing editor of Staff magazine, to find out what interesting gadgets and topics are likely to be under discussions. And Nicholas, thank you very much, and thanks for joining us.
Morning.
Cybercrime on the rise currently in the world and in South Africa generally?
Always on the rise, a thriving business, a multinational with millions of employees, with high educations, high skill sets. There's always a very, very strong drive. There's always a massive impetus. There's motivation, there's money, there's credit cards disappearing. Most recently, Target were nailed 110 million credit card sets stolen, people's information, everything gone. The big trend we're seeing is not just in these big scoops, but on a concept that they're now calling bring your own device.
What is that?
Well, that's where you'd bring your iPad to work, your iPhone, your Android, your own personal device to work. And now internet enabled, on the Wi-Fi, all kinds of security leaks within the company, and it's just getting worse and worse and
so
better and better.
So they harvest for information via individual devices.
Yeah, the one blessing in disguise with the Snowden revelations is people are now aware. They're aware of the leakage. I mean, things like Angry Birds or Google Maps leaking information the whole time. Everything's leaking information, and people are out there looking for it, trying to find it. I mean, there was a very big case recently where the Twitter handle N, just the letter N, was hijacked and blackmailed from the original owner. And they did this just by scooping personal information, finding out his host details, his credit card numbers, phoning in, impersonating him. So these very personal crimes are happening.
Yeah, I'm not an IT buffon, I'm not a technical person, but you keep on hearing firewalls. Aren't firewalls enough nowadays to stop cybercrime or reduce it?
Okay, so if we take the cyberwall analogy and you look at the bring your own device, you've got a breach in your firewall right there. Someone brings in their tablet. It's not secure, it's open, it goes onto the internet and lets traffic in, and then people are on your network. It's becoming, we're having a beautiful growth, a wonderful time for technology, but obviously, there's going to be opportunists.
Okay, now there's this symposium going on, including the military in South Africa today, for them to understand threats about cyber crimes. In our minds, ordinary people, we think the military and intelligence, they should be really advanced and kind of things. How do we do? I mean, how are we doing in that space? Do you know?
To be honest, I would say, we're probably a very small boat in a very big ocean. At the moment, hacking is a government activity. It's accepted. America, China, Russia, all these big entities are all spying on each other's companies, their governments. I mean, Russia recently, just for pure corporate interest, were spying in the US. And hacking is realistic now. It's not just the purview of criminals or malicious teenagers. Everyone's looking at what everyone is doing. And we're strange like that as a continent because we do leapfrog. People are very, very tech savvy, especially Kenya, especially, in Nigeria. People are busy and there's no borders. It's just a millisecond away from every other country. So the rules are out the window. It's a good thing they're having this symposium.
In South Africa, currently, we're all crying out for faster broadband. And we compare ourselves to Kenya and Rwanda, who tends to have better broadband. But innovation should play a part in this. I mean, what kind of innovative measures can people take? I mean, are there gadgets that are coming up or software programs that are coming up now to try and counteract cybercrime?
Again, it comes down to your personal decisions and this whole information leak. People just need to be aware that what they do leaves a trail. Don't use predictable passwords.
So
simple
it's not
things.
A gadget issue, it's a behavioral issue.
It's a behavioral thing. Don't use simple passwords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, worst password of last year. Don't use predictable passwords. Don't use the same password on multiple sites. And don't use variations of the same password on multiple sites. Simple things. People, if they get your password, they get your Gmail, they've got everything. They've got your whole life.
I'm smiling when you talk about don't use the same password. Some of us are a little bit on the dinosaur age. I mean, I can't even remember what I had for breakfast. Now think about, I've got a different password for my banking and for my work and everything. I mean, how do you cope?
Then get an app on your phone to store your passwords. Get an encrypted app on your phone to lock up all your passwords in one place that you unlock with another password that nobody else knows. That's how I do it. I keep a whole list of passwords securely encrypted on one app. And you have to keep changing these things. You can't just sit back. I mean, you might be in the dinosaur age, but the guys out there that are stealing information, they're absolutely not. And they're right, they're in the room with you. They're not, there's no geography anymore.
Most of us do internet banking, and that's also where they go and farm it. You talk about the credit cards and stuff like that. Your recommendation in terms of how often should I change my banking password?
It's a tough one. It depends on which bank, and it depends on how you bank, and it depends on your daily limits. And we are very advanced in that sense. Our banks are way ahead of the pack. I mean, you get SMS notifications for any significant transactions. Anything out of your routine, new beneficiaries, you'll get notified. The big trick is do not ever act on emails. Ever, no matter who they're from, no matter what they say.
No matter what they look like.
Exactly. Don't ever act on emails. Your bank will never email you links to, reset anything. Stay away from any kind of email. If you have a query, pick up the phone, speak to a human being. Because you know what, these guys are really, really clever. You don't know what you're seeing.
Okay, no, thank you very much. That's Nicholas Borma, Managing Editor of Staff Magazine.
Know more about your world.
enca.com